In this tutorial I'm going to retouch the eyes, or one eye in this case. First of all, I'm going to drag the background layer to add a new layer, duplicate layer. I'm going to change the name to whites to brighten the whites in the eye. I'm going to put that to screen mode, which totally brightens the whole picture. I'm going to hold the option button on the keyboard and click on the add layer mask, which puts a black mask on the picture. I'm going to zoom in on the whites and then go for a brush. I'll put the foreground and background colors to totally white and black by pressing the D on the keyboard, and I can change back and foreground color by pressing X on the keyboard or by pushing the little 2 arrow mark on top of that. I'm going to choose quite a small brush with soft edges to paint on the mask. Be sure to have that mask clicked on. I'm going to change it to a little less size and paint over the whites in the eye. I can always change how big the brush is by right clicking. Around the edges of the whites I use a smaller brush. Careful not to touch the pupils, and if I do, I can change the brush color by pressing X on the keyboard to black and paint over the area again. By painting in white, the brighter areas are going to show, especially in the corners where there's little space in the pixels. I'm going to use the smallest brush. And change to a slightly bigger brush as I go. The brush is set to 100% opacity. And the areas in this mask that are black won't be brightened at all. come to the more inner parts of the eye, I can change the size of the brush again to say 5 pixels. And if this picture was of 2 eyes, I could put this layer mask on both eyes, and of course only the whites. And change back and forth around the eye. And as I'm happy with the result, I'm going to zoom out to the 100% view of the eye again by pressing Command 0. This looks like very bright white, so I'm going to change the opacity of the screen layer at first to 50%. Or 49, and maybe a little bit less. It depends on the picture, of course. 35, 34. Well, I'm quite happy with this result. Now I'm going to add another layer for the pupils. Simply dragging to add a new layer. I'm going to make another mask, deleting the whites of the white, setting the blending mode to soft light. Deselect. Zooming in again by pressing the zoom button or by Command plus on the keyboard. Making sure that now the foreground color is black. Choose the brush tool again. Big size hard edge. So that the layer mask is all black. Now I'm going to choose a smaller brush with soft edges, and I'm going to paint. Oh, forgot to change the foreground color. paint all over the pupil. Including the darker areas and over the pupil alone. Later on I'm going to change the opacity of this layer. To 100% or something close to that. I'm going to zoom out again, Command O, and change that layer to you can see the effect. By clicking on the eye next to the layer, then you see it's not very well painted over. I'm going to check if I'm happy with the results. I'm going to change the opacity a little back. Using the same layer mask, I'm going to put a new adjustment layer by clicking Command and clicking on the layer mask of this one. I see I have to paint a little bit more on the mask. Can use a little more. And click again Command and on that layer mask deselect again. Now put a new adjustment layer. A bit of levels to put more contrast by sliding the whites to the left and the darks to the right. Putting the opacity to somewhere in the area of 50. Until I am happy with the result. And then again put a new layer, adjustment layer with the channel mixer to have a little change in the color of the eye. I'm going to have the output channel of the blues put to less blue, from 100% to plus 49.52. Change to a little less green and move around a bit with the different output channels. To change the eye color to a somewhat green. I'm not entirely happy with the coloring on the reflection in the eye, so I'm going to paint over that in black. With again a small, or rather small brush with soft edges. To change the reflection of the eyes from green to the original white. Now I can have a look at whether I am happy with the results. I'm going to change the opacity of the screen layer for the whites back a little bit. And if I change or save the picture as a PSD, I can always come back later to adjust some more or even delete one of the channels.